those protection works, right? Okay, but this is alluvial bed in the downstream, and this one is the alluvial bed in the upstream. So now this is a section that I have drawn, and now once we are talking about the flow through this, okay, right, then on the surface of this we have the flow, right? The water, maybe if this is having, let us say, a free flow, okay, means that your, this is the crest level, this is the crest level. So your water level in the upstream, this is this, okay, and then you may have here a hydraulic jump, and this will be the water surface. This is the water surface profile, okay. This is the water surface profile for this typical case. Here we have assumed that this is a free flow, means that this level, and this level. So this is the tail water level. This is tail water level. So this tail water level is lower than the crest, right? So if the tail water level is lower than the crest level, right? You have the free flow. Means that there is no any, free flow, there is no any submergence. But if the tail water level is greater than the crest level, okay, then you have the submerged flow. I mean, the flow is a submerged flow, right? That's fine. So now here the flow, this may be a gated flow, or maybe gate, this is completely open. So you can say here this gate is completely open, right? Okay, I mean the gate is somewhere here, the gate that is open here, right? I mean above the water level, right? Now so this is the surface flow, and we have the subsurface flow, because this is a alluvial bed, and the water that will seep through this, and that will go like this, okay, that will go like this, okay. So I think you might have gone through in the some course the flow net, the Laplace equation, okay, velocity, potential, streamlines. So right now we'll discuss only the surface flow. Subsurface flow we'll discuss later on, right? Now in the subsurface flow, I mean we are talking about the surface flow here. This is the surface flow, right? Once we are designing the structure, in that case, okay, we'll be interested to know that, okay, how much discharge will pass at a certain level, okay. So let me write here and say this is the head. Okay, so now let me use another color. So this is the head, let us say H. I mean this is the head over the crest, okay. Now you see, once we are designing the structure, then we'll be interested to know, okay, how much discharge that is passing through this, how much discharge that is passing through this, okay. We'll be interested to know what is Q, right, for a certain value of the H, or for the certain value of the other parameters, okay. The first thing that we have to talk in the surface flow is what is the discharge characteristics, right? I mean, if you can recall a very simple discussion of the normal wear, okay. So if you have a normal wear, you know that, let me introduce a slide. So if you have a normal wear, I mean, you have, let us say, you have a channel, here, and here a weir that is being provided, okay, and the flow direction is this. So this one is the bed of the channel, this is the bed of the channel, and here the weir that is being provided, this is the weir that is being provided here, and we have the flow over this, So let us say we have the flow over this that is going like this, right? And this one is the head over this H. Okay. Then what is the discharge? Could you tell me? This is a rectangular weir. Head is, here is H. What is the discharge equation? Yes, please. What is the discharge equation for this? Do you remember or not? Please tell me. You have a rectangular weir, sharp. This is a sharp crested weir, right? Okay. What is the expression for the discharge? I'm not getting your response. I think you are knowing that for your answer, I note down your name and you will get the marks accordingly in your CWS. So you have to be, you see, active in the class, right? I'm not very much concerned about right or wrong answer. I want to know whether you are interacting or not.
Sir, is it a 2 by 3 CD root 2G times B into H to the power 3 by 2?
So this is 2 by 3 CD under root 2G, and if let us say this is L, okay, so L is here and H to the power 3 by 2, right? Okay, and if this is, let us say this is P or W, in that case the CD by the Ribach equation, that would be 0.611 plus 0.075 H by W. What is your name, please?
Sir, Shubham Bhardwaj.
Shubham. Yes, Shubham. I know. So now you see here, this is a sharp crested weir, right? And we have this discharge equation. Okay. We are looking for such type of the equation for our barrages, for our cross regulator, head regulators also. Okay. In short, this one you can club, right? And you can write this one as a, in a very simple terms, CLH to the power 3 by 2. Okay, where the C, this C is a discharge coefficient. This is not coefficient of discharge. I mean, this is not a correction factor. This is a discharge coefficient, and that is equal to 2 by 3 CD under root 2G. Okay, right? Now this is a sharp crested weir. This is a sharp crested yes please. अभी क्लास चल रही है यार 4 बजे के बाद. So this is a sharp crested weir, right? Sharp crested weir means any idea about this? I mean, let us say I'm making some thickness of this. I'm making some thickness of this, and saying that this thickness of this one is here. This thickness, right? This thickness is okay. We can write in this direction. Any value I'm just writing. I'm writing W, a small w. Okay, right? Any idea about this? When we'll say this one is a sharp crested weir? See, if I don't, I think you will be not knowing. If this H by a small w, okay, is greater than 1.5, then we consider this one as a sharp crested. Okay, and if this is lower, than this, okay, in that case we say this is the broad crested. Right? Now, as far as the structure is concerned, okay, we hardly have a sharp crested type of the structure, unless or until that is only for the measurement of the discharge. Since the gate that is to be also placed, so you can see here in this structure, here, you have to put a here you have to have a gate. So now to have a gate, of course you can't make this one as a sharp, right? This may be 5 meters, 6 meter, 4 meters, such the order of the magnitude that we provide. Okay, so this will be, of course, in most of the cases, this is a broad crested wave. Okay, so once we are talking about the structure, only we deal with the broad crested wave, right? So now we are looking for, in such type of the structures, what is the discharge equation? So here I can write in this short, okay, we are looking for here, what is the discharge equation? CL S to the power 3 by 2. Okay, right? What is the value of the C? Of course, this C is not 2 by 3 CD under root 2G, because the CD in this case that will be different. So how we can get the value of the C, that we have to look for, and that one also for the free flow condition and under the submerged condition, right? Okay, so first thing that we have to see is the discharge characteristics, right? I mean the discharge which is flowing through that. I mean this will give us the information, okay, if for a particular head, okay, how much discharge that will pass through this. Okay, right? So in this context, we'll discuss some standard charts that are given in the IS code for getting the discharge coefficient, or the different way of writing this this equation. It is not necessary that in all the literature we'll get the same format of the equation. The format of the equation that may be different. Okay, so let me show you the chart, which is the a general equation that is given. Okay, so now you can see here on the right hand side we have this is the, I have shown only the crest part. Okay, and the downstream water level is H1. I mean this height is H1. Okay, and downstream to upstream water level is H. Okay, so here the discharge which is passing through this, okay, what actually what is being done is the discharge which is passing through this is being split into two parts. This part is the free flow, this one is a free flow, right? And this one part, this is a orifice type of the flow, right? And then the total discharge which is passing through this, I am saying this one is the discharge Q1 and this is the discharge Q2. The total discharge is equal to Q1 plus Q2, right? And so now you can see here, as far as the Q1 is concerned, right, this is the orifice flow. So what would be the velocity here? The velocity here in this Q1, that will be under root, here the velocity that will be equal to under root 2gh, okay, because this is the height, and this is the velocity, and let us say the clear waterway is B, okay, and this height is H1. So we have to multiply with the area. So B into H1 is the area. This is the velocity and this is the area. And then we have to multiply with the discharge, coefficient of discharge. Let me write this one as a CD2. So this is our discharge equation Q1. Okay, and this is the equation which is written here. So you can see. And now coming to the free flow. So this is for the, of course, the Weir equation. So this Q2 that will be equal to, of course, we have to introduce a discharge coefficient, okay, and 2 by 3 CD1 I have already written. So here you have to write 2G, okay. You have to write here 2G, and of course the B, be it the width, and this is the head H. So H is equal to 3 by 2, okay. So now this is the Q2 that is written here. The total discharge is this. P is the clear waterway, and a typical value of the CD1 is 0.577 and CD2 is 0.8. So have you understood this? So if you have, let us say, you have let us say this is the side walls, okay, and here this structure that is being provided. So this is having a clear waterway of the B. This is a clear waterway. You can get the discharge from this. Tell me if you have any question. So you can use this equation, and you can get the discharge for the different head, or for a given discharge, what would be the head. The another equation that is given in the IS code 6966 of 1989. This is a very simple equation, right? And here the discharge is equal to QCL H to the power 3 by 2. H is the head over the crest, so you can see here the H, right? L is the clear waterway, right? Is a clear waterway. And C is the coefficient of discharge. Actually, here the C, that should be written discharge coefficient, but in the IS code it is written coefficient of discharge. Virtually this is not coefficient of discharge, this is discharge coefficient, okay, because the coefficient of discharge is a correction factor, and that correction factor can't be more than 1, okay. And this C, that is given, right, in the terms of the drowning ratio. Drowning ratio means here, I mean, let me draw a line diagram here, okay. The water level here is this, right? Water level here is this, right? So now this one is a crest. So if you, let us say you have this one as a code 6531, okay, and I'm sharing with you only for the free flow condition, right? And here this section is like this, okay, and here the dimension that is given here is, this is Z1, this one is Z2, and this one is W, right? Okay. And equation here is, here we have written Q is equal to CLE. LE is the effect, you see the clear waterway, right? It's not a clear waterway, this is the effective clear waterway. I will explain to you, right? And HE is the head. So there is no difference as far as the HE is concerned. But here is a difference. In place of L, we are using the effective waterway. I will discuss with you what actually means this effective waterway. So now, what is the value of the C? So you can see the C on the y-axis, right? And here is a HE by W, okay, for the different value of the HE by P. What is P? P is this height. So this is the monograph, right? And again for the different value of the Z1 and Z2, okay? For the different value of the Z1 and Z2, from this you can get the value of the C. So you can invoke this equation also for getting the discharge passing through this structure. Okay. Now I will explain to you regarding what is the effective waterway or the effective clear waterway, whatever it is. Okay. See, the typical plan layout of this structure, that is like this. You have here, this is the one bank, okay. This one is the another bank, right? And the structure is in between. So you have, this is the crest line, okay. This is the crest line, right? And in this, what is being done is piers are being provided. So you have the, let us say, piers like this, okay. So you have the piers like this. You have the piers like this, right? Okay. This is the abutment. This one is the abutment, and these are the piers. Now, if you see here, what is the clear waterway? So let me write here. This is the small L, right? And let us say all is a small L. This one is also a small L, right? A small L. This is also a small L. Means that our total clear waterway is 4 times of the L, right? Okay. Now, but what happens if you have the flow? Once you have the flow, in that case, what happens that, I mean, once the flow which is approaching this, once the flow that is approaching to the pier and the abutment, okay, then there is a small flow separation, okay, like this, right? From here also you have some flow separation, right? Then what happens that your effective waterway of the flow that reduce. So that is the LE. So now this is reduced to LE. So your LE is equal to 4. I'm not writing exactly 4 times of the LE because the contraction that will be different in the case of the abutment. This is the abutment. And this one is pier. And also depending on what is the shape of the upstream nose of the pier, okay, the contraction that will be different, right? So here I'm not writing this because this abutment contraction that will be different, the pier contraction that will be different. The effective waterway is the, of course, the total clear waterway minus the contracted part. Okay. So now what is being done is, this is being written like this. So your clear waterway, effective clear waterway, that is equal to the clear waterway minus 2 times of the NKP. N is the number of the piers, KP is the pier coefficient, plus KA, KA is the abutment coefficient, and HE is the head. And what is the value of this KP? KP, and what is the value of the KA that is given for some typical shape that is given here. So if you have, let us say, a rounded nose, which is a very common rounded nose here, in that case the KP is equal to 0.01, right? And for the abutment, of course, if you have abutment like this, then the K is equal to 0.2, and if you have a rounded, then that will reduce. So this is about the discharge characteristics of the structures, right? And once we design, we use this concept, right? So I have shared with you the three equations, right? And it is not, you see, uh, it is not clear that which one will give you the better one. Then what is being done is, it is better you calculate by all the methods, whatever that are available. You check the range of those equation for, I mean, for the validity of that. And if for important structure, you have to do some experimental work to get the value of the coefficient of discharge or discharge coefficient. So now in this, if you have any question or anything, please tell me so that I can proceed. Please respond. हाँ जी, बोलो आप लोग. हर्षित गुप्ता. हर्षित गुप्ता. Then I will close the lecture if you are not responding, because I am not knowing that whether you are hearing it or not. Because if you keep yourself silent, you are not physically present here, and I will not get any information from you, then why should I continue this if you not respond? Mr. Piyush Yadav. Nobody is responding. If you not respond, I will not continue.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, am I audible?
Yes, you are audible to me.
Sir, my mic was not working properly actually. There is a connection problem.
Okay, your mic is not working, but whether the mic of the other your classmates are also not working? I mean, this is.
I don't know about that, but there was an internet problem.
So this is about the discharge characteristics. There are some other issues of the surface flow that are to be discussed. So let me discuss those issues. Let me redraw a typical sketch. In this case, what I am going to discuss here is the energy dissipation. Okay, this is the energy dissipation, right? This is another important part in the case of the surface flow energy dissipation. You know that the cross section that I had shared with you, a typical cross section. You have this is the upstream flow, then the crest, then you have the glacis, and then you have the Stelling basin, then end sill, and you have the upstream and downstream cutoff, right? Now, if you see the flow over this, right, then you see the flow is going like this. Then you have the hydraulic jump. In this case, I am showing the hydraulic jump. Okay. Now, if you see in the case of the total energy, so you have the total energy line here. Okay. And the total energy line in the downstream is this, right? The difference of these two is the loss, right? Now this is HL is the loss, and this one we have to dissipate. And if we will not dissipate that one, then once the flow that will go beyond the structure. What I'm trying to say is, say this is your channel or the river or the canal, whatever is, and you have provided your structure, you have provided the structure in this part, this is the structure, and we have the flow in this, right? And if we not dissipate the energy here, in that case, here the residual energy that will be high, right? Residual energy that will be high, and what that will do is that will erode the bank and the bed of this canal or the river. Okay, so that is not desirable. So high residual energy, that is not desirable. Okay, this is not desirable, and that is to be dissipated. And in general, there are two ways of the dissipation of the energy in the canal structure. One way is by forming the hydraulic jump. So we have to design the structure in such a way there should be the formation of the hydraulic jump. Okay, and then we can of course achieve some certain quantity of the energy dissipation, right? So in this case also, you might be knowing there is a lot of the turbulence here, and that turbulence is of course responsible for the dissipation of the energy. The another way of again, there also we have the same concept of the turbulence, right? I mean, we have to create the turbulence in any way, right? Is some sort of a fall type of the structure. Means that, let us say we have the section of a structure like this. In general, that is a fall. Here we have raised this, and then here is a fall. This is the Stelling basin, and this one is. So this is the structure. Here also we can put some. You see upstream and downstream cutoff, and this water, this is falling here, and we have a certain water level here all the time, right? So once this is falling here in this, so here there is a lot of the turbulence, right? Lot of the turbulence, and those turbulence are responsible for the dissipation of the energy, right? So we have to discuss, I mean, the various structure for the dissipation of the energy, right? Most common is the hydraulic jump type. So this basin is known as a hydraulic jump type of the basin. Hydraulic jump type of the basin. Hydraulic jump basin. Okay, so where you have the formation of the hydraulic jump, right? So energy dissipation is a very important part. The next one is the water surface. The third part one is the water surface, right? I mean, in the case of the surface flow, what is the role of the water surface? See, for the typical structures that we had discussed, let me again draw this, right? We have this. And here we would like to know, okay, what is the water surface profile that we are getting? What is the water surface profile we are getting? May I know why we are interested in getting the water surface profile? The reason behind that one is we have to fix the top level of the side wall. Top level of the wall, or you can say abutment, or you can say the piers, right? I mean, the water that should not splash over the side wall. Then what you, let us say, for that you should know the water surface. I mean, what is this is the water surface. You should know this water surface, okay? And then you have to put some freeboard, and finally you have to fix the top level of the side wall. Means that the side wall top level that will go like this. Okay, this side wall top level. So this is the top of the side wall or top level of the side. Right? So that water should not splash over that. So this water surface profile computation on understanding of this one is a very, very important part. The third one is, and which is this most important part in the case of the hydraulic structure, is the cavitation. May I know what is the cavitation? Could you respond? What is the cavitation? Anybody? You know that, I think you might be knowing the vapor pressure.
Sir, due to low vapor pressure, the water starts boiling.
So at, you see, if we have a pure water and at 20 degrees centigrade, pure water, and if you are reducing the pressure, right? Okay, I'm talking in the terms of the absolute pressure, right? Okay, because the atmospheric pressure, that is of the order of 10.3 meter head of the water, right? That is the absolute. So now in this case of this absolute pressure, right, if that absolute pressure is reaching to about 0.223 meter head of the water, in that case the state of the water that will change. I mean the water this H2O that will change in the terms of the air, right? And once that is changing in the terms of the air, okay, that one we are saying is a cavitation. Means that this cavitation process that will happen in a low pressure zone. So where there is a low pressure zone, in that case the cavitation that will occur. Okay, we never allow to go the pressure, absolute pressure. This is the absolute pressure up to the order of 0.223 meter. That is in the case of 20 degrees centigrade, because that is different for the different temperature. And also the purity of the water, right, that also play the important role as far as the vapor pressure is concerned. But how that is you see important in the case of the hydraulic structure, okay, of course in particular the high head structures, right? So let me draw this section. Okay, so we have, this is again I am repeating this one, right? And this is the end sill, and we have sorry, basin and the end sill and the structure like this. Okay, in particular if we have the gated structure, I mean here is the gate that is being provided, the gate that is being provided here, a gate that is being provided, and you have a small opening of the gate, and in the upstream you have ponded the water. I mean this water level is this in the upstream, right? Upstream. Then what happens? The water which is coming out from this gate, this is the gate, right? Once that will come out from this gate, that may go like this. Okay, means that here is the flow separation. I mean the flow is separating from the boundary, right? And once that will separate from the boundary, here a low zone, I mean low pressure zone that will develop. Here the low pressure zone that will develop, low pressure zone, right? And if that reaches to the vapor pressure, in that case the state that will change, which is not desirable. Even for the negative pressure, once I'm saying that is now I'm talking in the terms of the gas, right? What happens that even though we have the pressure less than the atmospheric pressure, then what happens? I'm just rubbing this, okay, because this is the negative pressure zone, right, or the low pressure zone. this concrete, this is a concrete surface. This is a concrete surface, right? And you know that the concrete is not good in tension, right? So since you have here a negative pressure, in that case, the force that will act on this surface, right? And this concrete that will come out, okay? So our structures that have to be checked under this condition. Otherwise, the structure that will fail. I mean, the surface that will come out with the terms of the chunks, okay, and finally that will fail, right? Fortunately, the hydraulic canal type of the structures that are not, in general, I'm not saying that all, okay, is a low head structures, and the cavitation problem that does not arises in the case of the canal structure. But if you have a high head, okay, I'm talking about this head. If you have a high head, in that case, this cavitation problem that will be there, okay. So this is about the surface flow, and we'll discuss in the next lecture, okay, the energy dissipation, right? Energy dissipation we'll discuss in the next lecture, okay, and we'll discuss this hydraulic jump type of the Stirling basin, okay. Hydraulic jump type of the Stirling basin we'll discuss in the next lecture, okay, because once we have the idea of the design of the energy hydraulic jump type of the Stirling basin, right, then that one we can use in any type of the structure, okay. So now I am closing, okay, and we'll discuss in the next lecture about the energy dissipators or the hydraulic jump type of the energy dissipators. Okay, thank you.